Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Business Uncensored, not your normal business show. There's many reasons why this isn't your normal business show, is because I'm not your normal person and I get to host it and then it just comes out that way. So instead of trying to force myself into a box, I made my own. Today I'm very, very excited. This is a gentleman that I've got to meet in person. I've got to talk to, have the utmost respect because their craft is just none other. But Junaid with Home Studio Mastery. We're going to talk to them today. We're going to talk about all things Lego, from Legos to home studios to podcasting to all the things. And we're just going to get to know him a little better. He's got a great social media presence. So after this, we'll give you all the links, go check him out, learn a lot from him. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Dude, Ryan, thanks so much, man. I'm super excited to be here. Cannot wait to, have a conversation. I mean, we were hanging out in the green room for like 20 minutes, Just
yeah, we're talkers.
It was awesome. We're talkers. We just, I wanted to share this new stuff that I discovered. And I'm like, dude, in the past 20 minutes, I just created a new intro, a new audio, and I have like 3 different voices.
That's one of the things that I love about you. You always love to share information. Like Prometheus with fire, you're wanting to give it out, right? Let's get it out. And you did. I heard the bink that you're in, and you're like, I got to tell you about this because we talk. I mean, we randomly talk throughout the week or whatever. But and I got to tell you, I'm a little insecure. So I just built my studio. I haven't had it. I'm not. It's not the final version, but it's close. And then I'm like, man, he's coming on. I'm like, let me move this around. I'm like, it is what it is now, right?
It's a journey.
It is a journey. So, because you're in podcast studio and you help people get their studios made, which creates a big impression, right? If you go back to my first podcast for this generation of me podcasting, it's me in an office. It's me in an office with bad lighting. And here we are. I've taken some time and care to construct things. Why are studios so important to this video journey that we're on?
It's almost like asking me, why is it so important for you to dress nicely when you're going to meet people?
Fair enough.
It's almost like first impressions matter, right? How you show up and what clothing you show up, it shows that you care about the people that you're showing up for. Now, back in the days, and this is probably a video, people would dress up in suits to get on an airplane.
Yes.
You remember?
And now it looks like Walmart at midnight. Yes. Yes.
Exactly. People just showing up in pajamas, their yoga pants and like everything. I'm like, dude, what's going on? Can you just keep that in your bedroom to where you sleep?
Right.
I have a big problem with that. But anyways.
Last time I was on a plane, right, I was going to Puerto Rico. And I forget what my hop was. I think it was from Atlanta to Puerto Rico or something like that. And somebody that I watched them walk around half the airport barefoot, decided to put their feet in my chair, like on the little, and I'm like, oh, what are you doing? Like, where has civilization went? What has happened? There's a lot of things going on, but let's just take care of not putting dirty feet on people on an airplane.
Agreed. So reeling it back, right? Why studio is important.
Right. Welcome to my show, by the way.
Welcome to the show. We just went on a tangent and then we had to boomerang back. I think instead of a tangent, we should call it a boomerang because
that's right.
A tangent just keeps going off.
Yeah.
And it's lost. But this is a boomerang. So back to home studios. Why it's important is because as a business, you want to show up because you're presenting with a product, you're presenting with a solution for your customer and for your client. And yes, it's all fun and games when you're at the bar, but when you're in business, 9 to 5, you got to show up with that confidence, with that best dressed suit and whatnot. And it just sets that first impression. And when you show up with the best thing, people on the other side, like, wow, this guy really showed up with a really good look. I mean, I must be important.
I think that's correct because as we journey through podcasts, I know you're on a lot of podcasts. We do a lot. You can tell when somebody is serious about it just by their surroundings. Not that they're not a good host, not that they're not whatever, but just by that little extra care of making sure the background is laid out decent, and there's decent lighting, and there's decent things. I love your analogy of shirts and stuff. Why do you think I have this? If you ever see me without it, you know why it's there. And so before we move on and we talk about the studio things, 'cause I know that's kind of the main thing you do. Can you give us like a couple, like maybe we don't have the budget. Like I put some money into mine, you put some money into yours. Do you have some tips for people that might be watching the show of how they can just improve how they look with the things they have around them?
100%. So the number one thing that you want to focus on is just analyze your room. Just look around. What's available? Do you have a flat wall? Do you have a corner that you really like? Do you have something decorated in there? Use that as the backdrop. Funny enough, yes, my studio looks nice, but my friend, my coach, in my mastermind, this guy's like, you have a nice looking setup, but it's not on purpose. Like, yeah, I know, you're right. It's not on purpose because everything's blurred out, so I can literally throw anything back there. It just looks fine. Like, I didn't curate what I want to show in the background. Sure, I can switch the camera angle and show you I've got these posters. But yes, mine is a work in progress as well. There's always room for improvement. So the first thing you want to focus on is analyze your room. Do you have doors or windows or other things in the shot? And how can you use that door that's in your shot into the conversation? That's the time travel door. I just like to keep it there. People come in every once in a while to ask questions. So you integrate what's in your room to, again, bring that conversation together and connect it with the people. So analyzing the room. Number 2 is lighting. If you have a nice window that you can sit in front of, absolutely great. You can look out in the beautiful, and then you also look good for camera. And then so far, no money spent yet. But the one that I do recommend, the first investment should be in your microphone, because people want to be able to hear you clearly and properly. And the conversation we had about earlier, 11 Labs, you can literally record your voice and clone it and have it for sale. Your voice. So again, if you have good audio, you can make money or monetize it from that perspective as well.
I think audio is one of the big things when we're talking podcasting, business meetings, anything. I'm not affiliated in any way. The reason why I use this microphone, it was $55, and it sounds okay.
It's a nice one.
It's not the greatest mic. It's not the worst mic. Shure's, you can get Shure mics for around 100, and I'm getting ready to upgrade my mic. I found one that I actually liked but I use it because in our company, we have recommendations, and we don't want podcasting to be this huge barrier where you have to go buy this M7 $400 microphone that I want to prove with a $50 microphone, you can have decent audio. So I'm right there with you. And I love the fact that we now have products, which makes it a little bit easier to get that better audio as well.
100%, the better the audio, and it just gets, it's again, back to that first impression, because people are going to be listening to your podcast, your audio in their headphones or in their car or while they're on the run. It's an intimate experience, and you want to create the best quality that you can.
Oh yeah. And I like doing this, but let me prove a point real quick, right? Because one of the things that I see people doing is when they show up to show up like this, right? They show up and they're like, hey, I'm just using my laptop. Right now I've switched to my laptop, which is right in front of me. But I mean, you guys can probably, I know you can, but as you're listening to this, can hear that difference. And let me just real quickly switch back to my $50 microphone. And right there is the switch of it coming back. And that's the difference between people listening for 5 minutes or 2 minutes or 30 seconds and actually listen. You could have the meaning to life. And if it sounds like you're yelling into a laptop, no one's going to listen to it.
No, sir.
Tell me a little bit about what's in your background. Like you do have it blurred, But as my background are things that I had in my house. I collect antiques. I live like it's 1961, and this is my whole existence looks exactly like this. So I made it into me, right?
Yeah.
So what are some of the things back there on your shelf?
So I've got some books on this side, a few books that I've collected over the years. Pat Flynn, Gary V, Michael Hyatt, some cool folks, and then right behind me over here, you'll see some, what do you call these? Stormtroopers, Lego models, and I've got Captain Phasma, got Kylo Ren, I've got Darth Vader up in there, all hanging out on the top shelf, and on the bottom I've got some more other toys, some motorcycle models from Lego. That so one of them, Boba Fett, is sitting on a motorcycle. It just looks really cool, but it's blurred out, right? So if I had designed or architected the space a little better for myself, you would see it much clearly. Or I would probably put it in the same focal length as myself, so then you can see it, or use a different camera. But again, it's something that I get to go and play with, and people. And if I do switch the camera angle, then you can see it a little bit clearer over there.
So now I have a movie question that may either be a boomerang or a complete and total rabbit hole we disappear off in. Have you watched the new Dune movies?
So I've seen the first one. I'm waiting to watch the second one. We are going through the month of Ramadan right now, where we're fasting from sunrise to sunset. So we're spending a ton of time fasting, praying, and all that good stuff. So I haven't gone out to watch any movies during the month of Ramadan.
Thank you for taking out the time during this to talk to us. The only thing that I want to say is George Lucas owes him some money. That's like, I like Star Wars, right? I was born in 1978. I was raised on Star Wars. It's a thing. I love Star Wars. Never really got into Dune. Maybe it was a 1984 Dune movie that I could just never watch or get past, right? Go back and watch it if you don't have anything to do. And it's just
I have seen the 1984 Dune movie that was on 3 DVDs.
Yes.
It's like 5 hours long, right?
Yes.
So you went to the first DVD. I'm like, you got to switch the DVD out.
Okay. So there's two. There's one, which was a 1984 theatrical release that they told the entire book in 2 hours, which was just totally unfathomable and bad. And then that bombed and didn't do anything. And then they made for TV miniseries, and that was probably the one on the different DVDs, which was just equally as bad. Which was just equally as bad, right? But so I never really got into Dune. I mean, Dune was always like, as I'm coming up in 84, I was like 6 years old, and I just heard everybody joking about how bad it was. So I probably never got into it. So the other day, my wife was out of town doing something, and I was bored, so I watched the first Dune. And I'm like, man, this is amazing. Like, absolutely amazing. And then I realized that part 2 was playing at the theater. So I'm like 4 blocks from the theater. So I just walk over there. I live downtown, right? So I just walk over there and watched both parts in one day. And after I was done, I was like, this is excellent. This is amazing. And George Lucas owes that dude money, because there is so many similarities.
Yes.
Just so many. And I'm a fan, but I do ask Star Wars fans whenever I get a chance, like have you watched both? Because just for anybody out there, Dune come out about 15 years before Star Wars. No. So it's not, yes, Dune come out in 1964, 1963 or 4.
So that was the 2-hour movie you're talking about.
In
64?
Yeah, the book. No, the book come out.
Okay.
The book come out in 1964. The first film adaptation, if I could speak, was in 1984, and I think 1990 or somewhere around the same was the made for TV series, which was equally as bad. So yeah.
So I got to do some research, because I don't know.
Yes.
When the first books came out for Star Wars, because I'm sure it came from a book, right? The archives. No. They made the books after the movies.
They made the books after the movies. Yes. As far as I understand, and I might be wrong about this, because I'm a big movie geek too. So Star Wars, there was, a Star Wars 1, which is now part 4, weird. But The New Hope, whatever you know it as, was just literally a movie they wanted to do. He couldn't get really funding for it. So he did this. And after the first one was successful, he kind of expanded the stories. That's why between the first original 3 that come out in 78, 80, and 83, there are differences. Like why didn't Darth Vader understand Leia was his daughter because they could feel each other with the Force? Because he hadn't written that part yet. Leia wasn't his daughter yet.
Right.
And so as they made movies 2 and 3, they expanded that. And then, of course, you get the first set and the last set, and however you feel about those.
That's funny.
But yeah.
That's really cool. And it's almost like, he went to ChatGPT. He's like, generate me a cover.
Yeah.
For A New Hope. Okay, now extend it to the past. Extend it to the front.
Yeah, because when the original Star Wars come out, it was just a one-off science fiction movie. It wasn't anything that it was today.
It's not even a sci-fi movie.
It's space opera.
It's a fantasy.
I think the technical term in the 70s, because you had space pirates and all of this other, or ice pirates and all of this other stuff. The technical term is space opera because it's a soap opera, but in space. So it's a space opera. And really, if you take the totality of Star Wars, it's just Jerry Springer Skywalker drama. So it's just that's really all it is.
I love that. I love that so much because, but I like where they're taking it now. Like,
yes,
I like how they've split off like the entire Mandalorian season, the creation of Ahsoka.
Yes. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's mind blowing like what they were and I just saw the trailer for Acolyte and I was like, wow, this is gonna be cool. Especially with Trinity in there. I'm like, come on. You can't get better than that.
And Rogue One was an absolutely amazing movie.
Absolutely.
I would watch an entire universe filmed and set like Rogue One was, because Star Wars for me, like I said, I grew up with it. Was it was fun. It was as a kid watching it versus as an adult watching it and what they do with it. And the universe is coming out, the video games. I'm a sucker for a good universe, a story, whether it be author, whatever you feel aside, whether it be like Harry Potter or Star Wars, Star Trek, all of them. This universe they create is absolutely amazing and you can get lost in. And kudos for everybody that's worked on Star Wars. Some of the stories have not been great, but the universe building is next level.
Yeah. And I love the way they've constructed the sets. Like they built the entire Millennium Falcon, right, just to shoot in, so they don't have to shoot in front of green screen. And the technology that you probably heard of is the View Studio technology, where they're using full-on LED screens, 100, no, not even 100, like 100-foot diameter, and these screens all the way around, and even the ceiling. So they don't even have to worry about lighting the set.
No,
because those LED lights are creating spectacular clarity, and it just looks beautiful.
It's kind of the difference in a lot of ways. And there's tons of post-production, so don't take this wrong. But I produce some live shows, right? And with no post-production, right? We use OBS or Streamlabs or whatever, and we do all of it up front. We have a producer in. Those things are, you know how much money that saves? You know how much time and money that saves? So for them to build up this entire studio to basically film whatever's going on in the background with no green screening, no cleanup, no relighting, no reshoots, that is a huge technological bump and advancement for all of the billions and billions, whatever you feel about Disney, it doesn't matter. But and Industrial Light and Magic, the way they have formed the way we make movies today, just the innovations of how we do that today. And that trickles down to us here at home too.
It does.
Of being able to use home products and home cameras and stuff like that, and simplifying that process to where we see creators that are just on the ground creators making magnificent things as well.
What's amazing is that technology would not have been possible if you didn't have video games, because that entire background is generated using Unreal Engine and the things that are great, right? So what's also cool is today you can step into a studio that uses the same technology as Disney and Hollywood and Star Wars to shoot your own commercials. And the Florida Gators actually have that set up in their stadium now, so that they can shoot all sorts of content for their social media using those amazing screens. I'm like, holy smokes, it's a whole different game.
And that the more I get into media and video production and content production, our staples are podcasts and any recurring video. But like in this room, I'm in this office annex. So, and all these offices are empty and I rent them one by one and I'm building studio after studio. Like I got 2 studios in process down the hall. And some of those are absolutely for townspeople to come in, and I've painted all the walls green and we're getting green carpet and we're learning how to light it without the blowback. And even though we're like a step back, how unheard of was that 15 years ago, 10 years ago to have a little studio. So the things that Industrial Light and Magic and the things that Disney are doing is our future. As marketers, as video producers, as anything, that's our future. So to see these things unfold and for us to be able to do this marketing at that level is just, it's insane. Then you mix, like we were talking about, to kind of bring it full circle, our last little rabbit hole, that what AI. So now we have, like I'm using my iPhone. My iPhone has become my main camera to almost film everything. And then I got an iPad sitting right here that has the same exact camera in it. And so now I have a multi-cam shoot, and I can also play Candy Crush on it. Yeah. And, and the lighting in studios, and there's 7 lights in my studio, and I've learned how to do that. And YouTube, the information age, now we're going to start piling AI on top of that. So how do you feel our future in 6 months in video creation? What's the next big AI thing in video creation?
Well, we've already heard Sora.ai, right? We've heard that OpenAI's got a working on where you can literally type in a prompt or give it a script and it'll create the video for you. Now, the some of the things that the companies like YouTube and Amazon and other places are doing, or even TikTok, is they're asking you, is this AI generated video content, right? So they want you to say it is or it isn't, because they want to then inform the user that, hey, this was generated via AI and not via somebody actually doing magic or whatever. So where it's going, it's just giving us more tools, because if you think about how many creators there are in the world versus the consumers, there's 4 billion people that are consuming the content that only 30, maybe 10 million people are creating. So enabling and giving them even more tools means that people who are consuming can easily do the switch and become the creator. And you've probably noticed in YouTube, if you're watching a YouTube video, they have a little button icon down there where you can hit a clip. Like, oh, I like this clip. You click on that clip, and then you can add an audio to it or music or whatever, and then you can reshare it on your own channel. So the more people convert from consumers to creators, the better it is for technologies and companies like us, for businesses, because we're already so far ahead in technology and understanding what it takes to build something. We can then guide them into becoming better creators. And that's the thing that we got to keep harping on. It's like, hey, you want to be morally correct. You want to be morally good, because it's not easy. It's not hard to go down that rabbit hole, go down the path of the sinfulness or whatever. I'm a believer of God. I'm a believer in God, and I have 4 kids. I want to protect them from all the bad that's in the world. So, being that person, I want to make sure that the things that I'm doing are morally, positive. So again, going down a different boomerang, it's important to train it the way that you would use it. Now, you had a question earlier, like a lot of small businesses are like, I'm not touching this at all. And in fact, my neighbor came up to me and she's like, hey, I know you do AI. Can you talk to me about it so we can talk about it in our company and whatnot? Maybe speak about it, because our company's like, no AI, because there's so many lawsuits. There's so many things going on around it. I'm like, yes, there are going to be lawsuits, because people are using it for the bad, or they're using it carelessly. For example, the lawyer who's like, oh, here's right? There's
and
like
it made up case law, yeah.
Right, made up case laws in there, and it's like he didn't do the homework. It's like, oh, this looks pretty cool. He didn't do his due diligence as a lawyer. He got disbarred, right? So you want to use the technology that we have access to the correct way, and there's going to be a lot of broken eggs, a lot of broken shells, a lot of broken eggs, a lot of bad omelets, you know. So it's just going to take time for us to bring it on right.
I agree with you, and to editorialize a little bit and add to what you said is, as I was telling you before, in my life, I actually got into marketing by podcasting, and with the Sidekicker, I was making assets, 3D assets for video games. This is back in like 2008, 2009. Nice. So I've created. I'm a very creative person.
You are a creator. Yeah.
I am a creator, you know, and a lot of the things in my life, that's what I do. I sculpt, I paint, I write, I video edit, I do documentaries. If I'm not creating, I'm not happy. Right.
Mm-hmm. I feel
so that. then we look at AI, and there's a lot of creators out there that are going, oh my gosh, they're taking away everything. You know, why am I special? Why am I special? Because I've spent my entire life creating. I've spent my entire life. I'm happy. Mm-hmm. You know why I'm happy? Because now there's programs out there that if I want a transition, if I want a thing and I had to go spend 8 to 10 hours making it, or if I had to go learn some new techniques, I can literally go, hey, chat, make this for me. Right? If I need a logo and I look through, because we all have repositories, stuff like that. I look through theirs, I hand draw things. I'm looking for inspiration. I can go to Midjourney and like I'm making a show called Good Morning Lebanon. So I can go in there and like, hey, good morning, Lebanon, blah, 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 blah. I want a sun. I want it to look like this. I want to blah, blah, blah. Give me like 15 of those. And it'll kick me 15 of those out. And now I know what I want. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to draw on top of that. And I'm going to make that my own. Sora. You were talking about Sora from OpenAI. Yeah. That absolutely is blowing my mind about what it can do in video. Now, if I want to make a 3-camera shoot sitcom, that's not going to work for that. But if I'm making a marketing video and I'm like, I need a boardroom with this dynamic of people with blah, 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 and it can make me a 20, 30-second clip of exactly what I want and save me 45 minutes on Avato Elements or Vecteezy or calling or getting a camera crew and going down the street and seeing if I can get all my friends in a boardroom or whatever. It's just making that creation process. Now, the last point that I will wrap up is it's a tool, right? How was Snow White made? Snow White was drawn, right? How was Shrek made? Shrek was digitally animated on a computer.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between what we're going to see in entertainment. The next evolution is going to be AI. It's going to be somebody that maybe doesn't have a whole lot of artistic ability, but somebody with an imagination, a good description, and somebody that like, I can't draw. That's the one thing I can't do. And I'm so frustrated when I try. It's going to remove that frustration for people. Yes. They're going to be able to sit down at a computer and in a day, by pushing buttons, mocking voices, doing the things, making tools, they're now a creator too. And you know what? As a creator, I welcome every one of you to being a creator. Yeah. And I'm so stupidly happy you found a medium that you can create in.
Yeah. You know, my friend said it really nicely. It's almost like if you could use a bicycle, why would you walk? Or if you could drive a car to do the thing, to do your commute, why would you walk or take the bicycle, right? So it's shortening that time and how fast you can execute and on your idea. I think what I loved, what Myron Golden saying, you know, it's easier to make $1 million in 1 week than it is in 1 month. And it's easier to make $1 million in 1 day than 1 week. So now, based on the technology that we have, instead of spending 1 week on designing a logo, you've got 1 day that you can design a whole logo. Because it's giving you an imagination. You don't have to take it as is. No, we're going to take that and like, okay, this is my good foundation. I'm going to take this out, take this out, take this out, clean this up. Now I've got a solid thing. And then because what is really good is because it's really great for artists and really great for people who have the expertise because they know exactly what to do with it. Anybody off the street can't like, oh, here's the logo I created. And you could totally tell if it's AI generated versus a professionally done logo, right? So, yeah.
So bridging that gap, and because you can always tell. Same thing in writing. This is my last piece. Same thing in writing, same thing in art, same thing as logo creation, video editing, whatever, Opus Clip, all the things you use. If you do not go back and refine it, we 100% can see that it's unrefined AI and it's not great. You still have to work with the product. Yes. Now, is there going to be a day you don't have to? Absolutely. Is that day here? No, it's not. So please make sure if you're using AI that you clean it up a little bit. And that is our time. I can't tell you how much, it went so quick. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed talking to you. So, Junaid, tell us how to get a hold of you, where to find you, where to learn more about you. Because that's what this show's all about, is learning more about you. We started with your business, kind of learned what you like, who you were. So tell us where to find you and learn all about you.
Absolutely. So you can find me on social at Super Junaid. And if you want to learn more about home studios and what it can do for you, head on over to homestudiomastery.com.
All right. My name is Ryan Sherrer, and this is Business Uncensored. And this is sponsored by Titan Media Works. Titan Media Works. What do? We do podcasts. We do recurring video. We know podcasting is huge. Video content is huge. But getting on that schedule, getting that done, having a coach, getting somebody to say this is what you need to do or don't do to rise above, that's hard. And it can be expensive. We try to balance those two things out of being easy and not as expensive as you think. So go to titanmediaworks.com. Works is spelled with an X. Why? I'm not sure. You'll have to ask the guy that named the company. But Works is spelled with an X. We'll, through the magic of thing, put it up here. Go do that. Ryan at Titan Media Works is my email if you want to reach out directly. And that's all we got for today. Thank you so much for coming on, my friend. And we'll have to do it again.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.